Welcome back to Man vs. Meeple, the show where we talk about all things board game related. We are here today to talk about an expansion to one of my favorite two-player games, Seven Wonders Duel. The expansion is Pantheon. Jeremy, we just got this the other day.
Yes, we did.
And we've played the original quite a bit.
We have.
This game definitely takes it up a notch, I think.
It changes the play experience drastically,
Yeah.
for me at least, because I'm not a huge Duels fan. I think Seven Wonders is definitely in my top 10 of all time.
Oh, it's one of your favorites.
It's one of my favorite games. This is definitely a notch down for me, but this adds a lot more variability to the game. It adds a lot more strategy to the game. It changes the gameplay quite drastically when you play through it. Let's talk about the components first, David. The game comes with a slew of different things. We'll talk about each of them right now. The first thing is the Divinity cards. There is 3 for each of these stacks that you see here. Each of the stacks represents one of the different types of cards in the game. So your red cards are going to represent your armies.
Right.
Your yellow cards are going to represent your commercial
commerce,
the commercial buildings, scientific buildings, wonders, and then your civilian buildings. So going for these specific ones can booster your gameplay if you're going for those particular cards.
And each of these is based around a different sort of god mythology from different regions of the world.
Exactly, and all these have different abilities on the bottom. We'll explain how these come into play once we get into the different ages. Also, there is a new board that kind of connects right to your main board. This is called the Pantheon board. This is where these divinities will be placed into these 6 slots. You notice there are 5 different types.
Right.
1 extra card will be the door. This is an action that will be placed into the empty slot at the end of Age 1. So, also in the game, you're going to have a couple new tokens. You have the offering tokens. These come into play on Age 2.
Right.
These are going to help you buy these cards a little bit cheaper when they're collected.
And there's similar tokens in Age 1.
Right.
The mythology tokens, which, like we alluded to, are going to be tied to bringing out these divinity cards.
Right. And there's a setup on this cool little card here, too, that tells you where to place the mythology tokens in Age 1 and where to place the offering tokens in Age 2. Also in the game, you're going to have 2 new wonders.
Right.
That play into some of these divinity cards and being able to purchase them easier. And then the guilds are no longer used in Seven Wonders Pantheon.
Yeah, in Age 3, there's no tokens in Age 3, but you replace the guild cards with these cards here.
And these are grand temples. These can be purchased just like any other card in the game. However, they're cheaper if you collect specific mythology tokens that match these. Also, these are set collection. Only 3 of these 5 will be placed in Age 3, and if you have all 3 of them, they're worth 21 points. So
yeah, you can make a play for big points there.
Right.
Any opponent's going to see it coming.
Right.
But if you can worm your way around the structure and get those things, it's huge points.
So in Age 1, the game is primarily going to be set up the same way.
Yep.
You will have the same tableau-looking cards, and instead you're going to place these mythology tokens there. There's 10 mythology tokens in the game, 2 of each of these specific divinities.
Right.
So the randomness in there on which one you're going to get, you don't know because they're placed face down on top of them.
Yeah, so you're not going to necessarily end up with the same divinity cards, and even you might not even get some of one type of divinity card in this setup up here.
Exactly.
So basically, when you're playing the game, if you're familiar, and we won't go through all the rules for Duel.
All right.
When you get to a card that has one of those tokens, it's going to flip over. If you choose to take this card, buy it otherwise, you're also going to get this token. You flip it over, and it's going to correlate with one of the divinity cards up here.
Right.
At which point
you're going to take the top 2 cards. You're going to look at those 2 top cards that match that divinity, and you're going to pick one of them. And you take the other one, you put it face down, and then you're going to slot this card on one of these 6 empty slots on the Pantheon board. Why do you want to do that? This is in secret during Age 1. Only you know what this card is. Now, if you look at the Divinity board, or the Pantheon board that goes around here, there's a set of numbers. One of the numbers points to you, one of the numbers points to your opponents. The ones that point to you are the ones that are on your side of the board are going to be cheaper. So, for instance, if I place it here, this card in the following round is going to cost me $3 to buy, but will cost my opponent $8.
Right.
If I place it on the other side, it's just the opposite. It's going to cost me more and him less. The advantage of this is knowing what card it is and if it's going to serve your purposes or not.
Exactly, and it kind of goes both ways, because if you're able to flip over a token,
right,
and it's sort of consistent with the strategy that you're playing. You pick up your 2 cards, you look at them, and one of 2 things is going to happen. You're going to see a couple cards that might benefit your strategy and how you're playing the game, or it might benefit your opponent's strategy. If it's going to benefit your opponent, you're going to want to place it where it's going to cost them a lot.
That's
Because
right.
when those flip over in age 2,
Right.
and he sees that one card that's like, oh, it's $8.
Right.
It's going to be a little more difficult for them to pick it up.
Right.
Flip side, if it's one that you're looking for, you slot it right in there where it's going to cost you 3.
Right.
And you basically kind of use that strategically. In the games I've played, I found that I put more of these Divinity cards down that I thought were going to benefit you. In expensive places for you, more so than I was trying to place them for me.
Right.
The other thing is, I found some that I thought would be pointless for you, and I'd put them in your cheap slots
Right.
that I knew you wouldn't be going for, so I
Right.
put them over there anyway.
Right. So there's a definite advantage on knowing and not only claiming those mythology tokens because they help you buy those grand temples at the end, but also knowing where to place them.
Exactly.
You're going to keep playing round 1 or age 1 as normal. As you notice, again, there's 5 tokens and 6 slots. Once the board is done with age 1, you're going to take the door, which is its own little card here. Now, the door is going to be placed on the empty slot, and it has its own special ability. Age 2, you're going to set up as normal. The start player is normal, except you're going to place the progress tokens, which are these. These range in -2 to -4. These offering tokens allow you to buy these cards for cheaper, and they're going to be placed onto the age 2 cards face down again, so you don't know where they're located.
Right, and those are nice because if you do see the cards flipped and one of those cards you really want is expensive and you have something that's, saves you $5,
Right.
it really makes those things possible.
Now, this age 2 changes the dynamic of the game drastically. And typically in Seven Wonders Duel, one of the things I didn't like is that people could kind of manage or micromanage their turns to lock you out of particular cards. In age 2, you now have an option, instead of doing your normal things, which are construct a wonder, or build a card, or
Discard a card for money.
you now have a 4th available action, and that is buying a card from the Pantheon. That is spending money and then putting that enacting its ability and taking that card and putting it onto your side of the table.
Right, and not only are you using the power, which is significant,
Right.
but what Jeremy was alluding to is you also don't take a card off of the structure.
Right.
All of those other things that you do in Seven Wonders Duel removes a card.
Right.
If you're getting money, if you're building a wonder, if you're taking the card, obviously, it's taking the card, revealing the next card potentially. So when you do this, you're able to stagger your movement on the
Yeah.
structure so that if you know there's some cards up there that you want to get, but you've done the math and know that you're not going to, you can kind of change things up so you're in line.
And that's a big game changer
It's
for sure
huge.
in the way that you play the game. You're going to keep playing out age 2 as normal, taking the progress tokens, buying cards from the Pantheon if you so wish, until you get to age 3. In age 3, all the guilds are taken out, as well as 3 of the age 3 cards, and 3 of these grand temples are added in, and they're just randomly inserted there as normal, and you play until the end of the game as normal.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, if you've collected a lot of these mythology tokens to begin with, most of those will be free.
Right.
Or at least a couple of them will likely be free if you have a few of these tokens. So it all of a sudden becomes a significant part of your strategy at the end of the game. If you're trying to last through to the end of the game for points, those cards become vital. And of course, your opponent knows that, so they're going to try to stop you from getting those points as well.
Let's talk quickly about some of the actions of these divinities,
Yeah, they're
or these
powerful.
gods, or what they do. The 2 tokens that you see here in the game, the first one you have is Minerva, which looks very much like the combat token in the game. Minerva puts up a shield, so if someone would get 3 combat against you and you've put up a shield, it blocks them from moving that many spaces. It's
Yeah.
one-time use and the shield blows up. The snake token, which is done by one of the green gods, allows you to basically mimic a science
you
symbol on someone's board.
Place it on anyone's science card that they have on their tableau.
Right.
So if you're going after the science route, you can sort of leech off of that symbol if it completes your set.
Right. There's Ra, which you used against me, that stole one of my wonders, which is awful.
That's pretty rough. You're able to take an unbuilt wonder from your opponent and add it to your tableau. That is probably one of the more punishing cards, in my opinion, because
Right.
when you choose those wonders at the beginning of the game, you're thinking, okay, especially if you choose those wonders that allow you to take another turn,
Right.
because those are the other element that allow you to change up the play order on the structure. So yeah, taking one of those can be significant.
We forgot to mention too. There's 3 new progress tokens as well in the game. One of the cool ones is every time you move up your combat, it forces the player to lose a buck.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's nice. They added a few there that make it really interesting. There's another one. If you're familiar with Seven Wonders, a lot of the cards have an optional build cost that combo off of another card. There's one of these tokens that allow you to, no matter whether you have that or any of the resources, you can buy it for $1.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
That is a significant thing for getting those things.
Yeah, so Pantheon definitely changes up the structure of the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest change that you already mentioned is that ability in Phase 2 to stagger the turn. I mean, not to mention, obviously, all of the things that directly affect the game, all of these powers, all of the tokens, basically the direct way that those components affect things. But the ability to give people a little bit more flexibility is probably even bigger than any one direct element.
Yeah, and it was definitely probably my major complaint with the original game. So, you like it?
Oh, I love it. I loved Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
I like a lot of two-players game. Duel is near, if not at the top of that list. Pantheon makes it even more interesting. I think the other aspect that this brings to it is a little more excitement to the game. You flip these cards over, you get these big swings where someone uses a power that can really turn the tides in the game, which I also think was maybe a little missing compared to Pantheon in the original. So yeah, this is a big win for me.
Yeah, I definitely think it makes the game much better. I will say that it does make the gameplay a little bit longer. The setup definitely takes longer with the game. And I know you probably disagree here, but I felt like the entire game as a whole lasted probably 15 minutes longer than what a typical Duel game
The game
would last.
it definitely lasts a little bit longer. I'd say once you get comfortable with it, though, it's still going to play pretty quickly. I mean, you're really taking nearly the same amount of cards outside of these little actions during stage 2.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more decision making.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, when you're looking through cards and deciding which ones to take. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer, but still a tight little game.
So if you guys are fans of Seven Wonders Duel, I would highly suggest you guys picking this up. It's really pretty much a no-brainer. Make sure you guys make comments below in our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. And check us out next time on Man vs. Meeple.
Thanks.
Season 1 of Man vs. Meeple is sponsored by TMG Games, publisher of great games like Yokohama, Guilds of London, and the soon-to-be-released Colosseum.